ahead of match France-Poland, which will take place tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the afternoon in Al-Tumama Stadium. It's my pleasure to welcome here at the top table head coach of Team Poland, Mr. CZESLAW MICHNIEWICZ, player number 7, Arkadiusz Milik, and player number 20, Piotr Zieliński. Before we start taking questions, a few reminders. Please turn off the mobile hotspots, put your phones on the silent mode, and for translation you can use FIFA interpretation app. For today we have 4 languages, English, Arabic, Polish, and French. So, if you have a question, please raise your hand, wait for the microphone, tell us your name, organization, and please use one of the 4 provided languages. Photographers, you are very welcome to stay with us for the first 5 minutes of the press conference. I think we can start with the first question. On this, all right.
Tomasz Włodarczyk, Meczyki, dzień dobry.
Tomasz Włodarczyk, good morning, good afternoon. I have a question to the coach. Before Argentina, you said you cannot play for a draw with that team, and that seems to be true. Now, can you play for a draw, 0-0 with France? Or do you have to have another plan for that? Do you need to create opportunities? Most probably with their offensive forces, the France team will be creating quite a lot of opportunities. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it will definitely be a completely different match than a group game. There is different tension levels with group games. The key objective is to go through. Some teams are sure after 1 game or 2 games. This game is going to be completely different. I think we need to forget about what happened in the group. We need to focus on ourselves. We know what we need to improve, what didn't work out in the match against Argentina. We know that France France is a similar team, with more personalities, very quick wing players, Dembele, Mbappé, Giroud. Well, they are the reigning world champions. If you can play against the world champion, well, if you win, you become a world champion. I think if we win against France, we could become the next world champion. We know that France is a wonderful team. They have a great team. He won the World Cup as a player, as a coach as well. They have experienced players, young players. Playing against France, we need to dream about scoring goals, and we will do it as much as we can. Good afternoon, coach. Goal PL. We know that the work of a coach is not working on your own team, but also looking for the weaknesses of your opponent. Can you find any weak points in France, in the France team? Could you talk about that? And I will have a question for the players, but that will come later. Well, I have been looking for those weak points, but I haven't found any. Definitely, there are some points in each game that when errors are made, and then the opponent can take advantage of them. But we need to work on that. If we do not pressurize the opponent, they will not make mistakes. We need to be prepared to pile on pressures in each sector of the pitch, wherever the ball is, and then errors appear. The same happens to us. When there is a lot of pressure on us, then we make mistakes. We have analyzed France today, but we have focused on their style of play. What do they do, how they do it, and why. We will have a briefing session about what we want to do, how we want to play. There's still some time to talk about that with the team. On the right.
محمود عبد الله صحفي مصري من العين الإخبارية. سؤالي للمدرب كثير من المحللين قالوا
My question to the coach, many analysts have said that the Mexican squad was the one who deserved to win because they were playing a quite amazing game, more than Poland. What's your comment on that, coach?
Uśmiechem skomentuję to.
I can just smile, and that's my comment. We had a draw 0-0 with Mexico, and we had a penalty awarded. I don't want to go back to the past. This is part of history. Now,
Pozwolę
about
sobie
all the
powiedzieć, wiem,
talks
że
on
po nas jeszcze
statistics,
ładnie
let
będą
me just
przychodzić,
tell
także mamy
you,
tego
I
czasu
think
do
there is no
treningu.
one else
Myślę, że
here. We
wygotowywać
still
ten
have
czas. To powiem
got
wam
some
taką
time
historię
until our training session. Let me tell you a
ku
short story
przemyśleniu. Niedawno
to
odbyła się
think
taka
about.
konferencja, na której spotkali
Recently,
się
there was a
wszyscy
press conference
miłośnicy
where
statystyk z całego świata,
all
dyskutowano
the
o
lovers of
XG i
statistics from
wszystkich innych
around the
parametrach.
world met,
Zaproszono
and
też
they talked
trenerów,
about
uznanych
all the
trenerów,
parameters.
wygrywali ligi mistrzów,
Coaches,
pracowali w
renowned
reprezentacjach.
coaches were also
No i po
invited,
2
those
dniach tej
who
konferencji
won
namnożyło się
the
tych
Champions
różnych
Leagues. After 2
wzorów,
days
jak
of that
zwracać uwagę na co,
conference,
po
there
co i
were
tak dalej.
different formulas
Zaczęła się
what you should pay
dyskusja.
attention to and why, and
I
the
jeden z
discussion
tych sławnych
started.
trenerów, mniejsza o
One of the
nazwisko,
famous
powiedział coś
coaches
takiego. Kiedyś
said
zapukał do mnie w
the
nocy
following.
sąsiad i mówi, że
At one
zgubił
point
kluczyki,
in
czy
time
pomógł, bo
at
samochodu
night,
czy pomógł nie
a
znaleźć.
neighbor
Mówię,
knocked on my
okej, pójdę
door. He
pomogę.
lost his
Szukają
car
te
keys
kluczyki.
and he asked me to help.
Samochód
They
stoi pod
went to
lampą,
help
szukają tych
together.
kluczyków, szukają,
The car
nie mogą
was under
znaleźć. W
a
pewnym momencie
lamp post. They were looking for the
pyta tego
keys. They
sąsiada,
couldn't find
słuchaj, a
them.
może
And then
pamiętasz,
he
gdzie
asked the
wypalił ci
neighbor,
te
"Well,
kluczyki?
do you
Mówi,
remember
tak,
where you
pamiętam,
lost the
200
keys?"
metrów
Yes, yes,
stąd.
I do remember. That was
No to
200
dlaczego tu
meters
szukamy?
away
No
from
bo tu nie
here. And
widno.
he's asking, "Well,
I tak
why
z tym
are we
samym
looking here?
miejscem na
Because there is
statystykę.
light
Szuka się
here."
tam, gdzie jest
So
widno,
the
trzeba
same
szukać tam, gdzie jest
goes
ciemno.
for
Te
football.
statystyki nie mają
I
dla mnie
mean,
żadnego znaczenia.
you are looking
Jedyna
where there is
statystyka
dark. The
w
statistics
piłce
don't matter for
to
me.
wynik
The only
końcowy i
piece of
tabela. Ja
statistics
innych
is the
statystyk nie
final
znaję.
score and the final table, the final scoreboard. I don't give any importance
Coach,
to any other
Yeah.
I will speak
statistics.
French language. Allez-vous vous inspirer de ce match
Are you going
France-Tunisie?
to watch
Et
the
est-ce que ce match est une
French-Tunisia
référence pour
match? And
vous
are you going
en
to be inspired
préparation
by
de
that?
cette
Is
rencontre
that a
contre l'équipe de
benchmark
France?
for
Merci.
your preparation to face France?
Dzisiaj nazwaliśmy 2 spotkania. Francja-Dania i Francja-Australia.
Well, we have analyzed two encounters, France-Denmark and France-Australia. We have only shown the goal scored in France-Tunisia. We know that the lineup was different. That is why we focused on the first 2 matches. We know that the third game was not so important for the France team. I have watched it in detail, but I have not shown those videos to my players.
بما أنني تونسي أتوجه للسيد المدرب بهذا السؤال.
Since I am Tunisian, I would like to ask the coach, good morning, coach. You've said a while ago that if we win against France, we'll become champions. Tunisia won over France. Can we consider Tunis as a champion, a World Cup champion? The second question, what do you think about the new World Cup system that is to be amended in 2026? Many say that the magic of the World Cup will be lost and the new World Cup will be tasteless according to this new system and law.
Przede wszystkim gratuluję Tunezji chwilę.
Well, I'd like to congratulate to Tunisia that they were world champions for a day. It's always very nice to win against the reigning world champion. I don't know what system you're actually talking about. Is it about the number of teams at the tournament? Because I did not hear any details mentioned.
السؤال الثاني يعني الزيادة في
The
عدد
second question is the number of squads that will be participating in the upcoming World Cup. Will it change in the taste of the World Cup?
Z mojej perspektywy czasami mniej znaczy więcej i myślę,
Sometimes
że
less means more, and the more teams there are, the easier it will be to go through from an athletic level. But will this be attractive for the spectators, for the fans? We see that today there are a great many matches, and if you want to see all of them, it is a huge problem. And now there are going to be even more matches. I don't know how it's going to be organized. 48 teams. Well, how long will the tournament last? 1.5 months? I think sometimes this can spoil the show. I would prefer to have fewer teams. It would be more difficult to qualify, but it will be more easier for it would be easier for the fans. But football is also business, and I realize that 48 teams, 48 squads, national squads means more interest all around the world. It's not me who's going to be decided. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 4 years' time. Perhaps I will be fishing when the World Cup takes place. Well, ask the players. I think they are here for no reason. Tomasz Kowalczyk, Radio. I'd like to ask the players about something. A question to Arek Milik. You learned something playing in France, in Marseille. What can you tell our team about the strength of the France team? What kind of football fans are there in France? Because you have been able to see some fanatics. And a question to Piotr Zieliński about your role on the pitch. Where do you feel best? Where would you feel best in the game against France? Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's hard for me to answer because most players who are in the first 11 of the France team basically play abroad, most of them, not all of them. I've got some nice memories from France. I am still a player of Marseille. I've only been lent to Juventus. It was a great club with a wonderful squad, and I've learned a lot with them. As I'm saying, it was a fabulous time for me. Now I'm part of a new club. I do hope I remain there. Tomorrow, we have a great match against the world champions. It is a dream come true for many of us because we aimed at getting through from the group, but now the question is what happens next? We all want to play and continue playing. There are things that we would like to improve, that we want to do better, that we need to do better in that game to continue playing. We're very happy that we're here. We appreciate the moment. We don't feel too much pressure, actually, because we don't put pressure on ourselves. We know we can play football and we will try to show it tomorrow. Football fans from France? Well, we are in a completely different country here, so it's difficult to talk about the French fans. There will not be so many of them, just as with the Poles tomorrow. But about France and Marseille, well, the football fans were truly fantastic, and I will remember them until the end of my days because they did impress me greatly.
Tak, na pewno jestem środkowym pomocnikiem w klubie, występuję w ustawieniu 4-3-3 na półlewym środkowym pomocniku. To jest moja optymalna pozycja,
on the left flank in the club. That is my optimum position, but I have several other options, so the coach decides and I will give it my all.
Bonjour. Une question pour Canal+, pour Monsieur
A question for Canal+, for the coach. I'm sorry, this may sound naive. I'm not a coach myself, but Didier Deschamps often says that he does everything to ensure that Kylian Mbappé has the space and has the means to realize his potential. And you don't seem to be doing the same thing for Lewandowski. Can you explain your tactics and strategy? And how do you try to ensure that Robert Lewandowski has a good role in that strategy?
This is a long story and I cannot tell you every part of it. It is definitely a problem in terms of offensive attacks, offensive action. That was the fact that we played difficult passes in easy situations. We were not accurate enough. We did not create enough opportunities for Robert. There is no other strategy for such forwards as Karol, Arek, Krzysiek Piątek or Robert Lewandowski. They need to be near the penalty box. If they are there, like in the match with Saudi Arabia, they could have even scored 4 goals. I think we were quite successful in our offensive in the match against Saudi Arabia. Of course, there were difficult moments. In the match with Argentina, the opponent didn't do a lot. We did not intercept the ball. We intercept the ball normally in the midfield, but we were not able to use the high position of the opponent, and we were not able to counterattack. We need to improve on that, definitely, but we need to realize that such an opponent as France will be dictating the conditions of the game. midfield defenders are about 30-35 meters from the opponent's game, so it's very difficult to escape their pressing. But some teams have succeeded. Denmark have scored a goal against them from a set piece, Australia as well, after quite a nice attack from the flank. So this is a precious indication on how we can play. But in order to take advantage of every striker in our team, we need to bring them closer to the right zone. You cannot normally score from your own half.
سؤال باللغة العربية. سؤال موجه إلى
Question in Arabic
زيلينسكي.
to Milic and Zelensky. Can the French defeat against Tunisia, can it affect the morale of the French squad and their dynamic, and can it give you more offensive solutions, especially that you are forwards, or it is not perhaps a standard given that France did not play their top-notch players in that game?
Ja patrząc po naszej drużynie, wewnątrz nas też jest
We need to admit that we have also very good spirits, we have good attitude for that match. We deeply believe that we can face the French squad, and we believe that we can get promoted to quarterfinals, and our focus is that we are a very good national team, and I think that, and I hope that tomorrow we'll perform very well. I think that I personally do not very much focus on the opponent. I don't focus on their attitude or their way of playing. It doesn't matter that much. We need to focus on ourselves. We play with the world champion. We know they are a very strong team, but we are focusing on ourselves. As Piotr said, we'll do everything to win this game. We are not the favorite in that encounter, but we'll do all the best to face the world champion.
Bonjour, je suis Thomas Ville, les DNA, une question en français.
Good afternoon. A question in the France team has described Poland as a very good defending team who enjoyed defending and suffering together. Do you agree with that definition? And do you think you suffer against France?
To na mnie? Ja mówię. Ci, co nie grali w defensywie,
the ones that were not defensive during the World Cup are already home and watching matches on TV. So this was our strategy to leave the group phase, and now we want to play differently. This is our plan, and let's see what the life brings. We are very much happy to play with the world champion because it's an award and distinction for all of us. I'm talking about our fans, I'm talking about the players and all the coaching team. It's not that France is already has already a guarantee to go forward. It's a match for everything. You win or you go home. So the stakes are high. We are not afraid to face France. We've been dreaming about leaving the group phase. We did everything possible to achieve that. I don't think it sounds good in French, but on the 4th of December there's a holiday of the miners in Poland. We are in it was so we'll do our best to celebrate that holiday, and we'll do everything to face this wonderful team, wonderful players, wonderful coach. We are not afraid though. We respect our opponent, we respect the class, and we don't care that much what other opinions about our team, and we don't care that much about the opinions on the French team. So we know what we want to do on the pitch, and we'll see what happens.
Arnaud Matteoli, journaliste à France Télévisions. Une question en français.
A question in French, France Television. You were also called the José Mourinho, the Polish José Mourinho. What do you think about that nickname, and what does it mean about your playing style?
To już dawno nieaktualne. Ja z tego miejsca
It's not up to date anymore.
Pańskie pytanie powiem tak.
This is not valid anymore, this comparison. It's like to tell you that football is about winning trophies and being successful, especially at the World Cup, which only happens every 4 years. And we are aware that all the teams, all the squads that were here, were conscious that you cannot get defeated easily. You cannot let the opponent score easily. Those who allowed that are not there anymore. We were good in defending as a squad, and as a prize, we will play against France. Jose Mourinho is one of the coaches that we talked to whilst in Qatar, and I'd like to thank him very much for preparing Nikola Zalewski. I'd also like to thank Coach Allegri for preparing Wojtek and Arek Milik, Thiago Motta, Łukasz Skorupski, Kamil Grabara. We talk to all those coaches in person. We are in touch with them, but let me mention all of those in order to appreciate the work they have done. It's not us who have prepared the team physically. They came physically prepared. They are in a great distribution. Jędrzejczyk is with us. Tobiasz, we talked to Steven Gerrard. He prepared Cash and Janek Bednarek. We talked to Stankovic, Marco Giampaolo. He prepared Bereszyński, Fabio Cannavaro. He says he misses Kamil Glik, but he wants him to stay as long as possible. Luca Cotti, Coach Kiwior, Enrique Masen, Robert Gumny was prepared by him. Jose Mourinho prepared Zalewski. Christian Bielik, Jostensk, Almeida, Damian Hajs, Kovac. He sends us best wishes. Szymański was trained by Slot. Gustafsson is another one. Latanzio, Coach Świderek. And then the coach of Barcelona, Trade Lewandowski and others. I would like to publicly thank them. I don't know if this is not my last opportunity because I'm able to work with such a great group of footballers. And it's thanks to all those coaches. I'd like to thank them from the bottom of my heart.
Good morning. A question for Arek Milik. You played in Marseille, and so you also met Kylian Mbappé and faced him. What is your advice for your teammates to try to defend against Kylian Mbappé?
Jak się bronić przed Kylianem Mbappé?
How to defend against him? I think we would need to have scooters to get through that, because he's so fast that would be difficult without the motorbike. It's difficult to play against the one of the best players in the world, I think. And we need to play collectively as a group, and we need to have very good cooperation within the team, because no one individually is able to stop him. Interia.pl. A question to the coach. From the very beginning, you have executed 3 goals. You got qualified to the World Cup, and now you left the group. And how do you feel about the criticism against you? Do you really care about it? And do you think that mentally the team is already packed and ready to go home because they have left the group stage and maybe they will do something with France? So what's your approach when it comes to criticism? It's connected with the job. I have already learned not to pay that much attention to everything. I focus on what I can do, what I do, and for me it's normal. You always get to be criticized. My family needed to get to use that. When I work for Legia, there's a lot of criticism, but it's not so widely spread. But I knew that it's connected with the job. I'm proud that I'm here. And the other question was? about the approach. No, we are not packed. Our luggages are not packed. We were not ready to go home before the match with Argentina, and we're not ready to go home. It's not that we're just coming for the game and going back home. We believe that we will play a good game, but we know that it's a huge challenge ahead of us. How to stop Mbappe. Griezmann is in a great shape as well, Benzema as well, but we have our strong aspects, and we will show the world that we can play football. We have great players, and we'll see on the pitch what happens.
Thank you. A question from the Associated Press in English for the players. Your goalkeeper, Wojciech Szczęsny, one of the biggest personalities at this World Cup. What's it like as teammates having a character like that off the field in the camp and also on the field playing in front of someone with such obvious confidence?
Yeah. Znaczy, ja osobiście wiem, że
personally, I know that it's not that Wojciech Szczęsny started to be such a great goalkeeper on this tournament. He's been a great goalkeeper for years. He showed a lot on this tournament, but his value is known for a long time. It's not a coincidence that in his life he played for wonderful clubs. He plays for Juventus for so much time. He showed what he can do, and I think everyone knew what we can expect of him. We are so happy that he's in such a good shape during that tournament. That helped us a lot, and I hope tomorrow he will show his best as well. Good evening, Coach. Hi, guys. I've been waiting for this question. I'm so happy that I can ask. I have two questions. The first question to the coach, because you have opened the training on Thursday, and in the end, you ask us to turn the cameras off to shoot the penalties. We had penalties during every game, ours or against us. So is it the element of the training that you keep on working on after every training that is close to the press? Because I can imagine when you're saying that we need to win with the world champion we need to focus on every detail. Of course, after every training we train penalties. When I had the open training, I asked you not to film because we had penalties. Actually, the ones that didn't play the day before. Yesterday we trained penalties as well, just to practice. You know that to reflect during the training what is happening on the stadium, it's something else. But we train this element because it's very technical, and the players trained yesterday, and there was a penalty, an award, financial award and penalty for the goalkeeper to raise the pressure.
We're taking the last question.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Fernando Valleca de Barros.
Fernando Valleca from Sao Paulo, and I have a question in French for the coach and for the players. It could last more than 90 minutes if it goes to extra time and then penalties. But you had a very little preparation time for this World Cup. So how do you prepare a team in such a short space of time for a match that could last more than 90 minutes?
To, o czym wspominałem wcześniej, zawodników.
As I've said before, the players were prepared very well in their clubs, so they are in great shape, so they can play without any problems for 90 minutes and longer, even in those difficult conditions. If we will have a penalty round, I think that would be a great surprise, a sensation if we win in the penalties. We have the mental setup, but first, we need to play the entire match. It's a huge challenge ahead of us. I totally agree that while observing many squads, I haven't watched all the games from the beginning till the end, but I can see that many teams has some challenges in set elements because there was no sufficient time for preparation, and it's difficult to do something between one match and the other, and we focus more on mental approach than physical fitness, but we'll do all our best tomorrow.
I want to remind you that the official training will start 4:30 and will be open for the first 15 minutes. Thank you very much for all your questions.
Okay. Dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you so much.
Jest liderem serii A, świetnie radzi sobie widzę, jeśli no co i prezentacja wychodzi z tej jest i myślę, że siebie i chciałbym, żeby tak było na boisku, bo jeszcze dużo ma do zaoferowania, no wszystko jeszcze pokaże, często było jakieś tam ciągnie bramki, ale